If you're tall and trying to build a more aesthetic muscular chest, honestly, you don't even need to bother with dumbbell presses or bench press. I'm telling you right now that push-ups, for most tall dudes, can get the job done. Hey, I'm Austin with Tall Fit Life. I am 6'8" tall, and I make fitness content specifically for tall people. The average Joe would probably tell you that push-ups are a waste of time when it comes to building muscle. And for the average Joe, push-ups can be pretty easy. Why? Because they are short, light people. You're a tall person, you know how it is. Not only do we have longer levers, making it a longer distance to travel, making exercises like bench or push-ups more challenging, but especially in the realm of push-ups, we weigh more. Even the skinny tall guy weighs more on average than the built, short and stocky average Joe. Now let me get this out of the way first. It is not bad to do dumbbell bench press or a barbell bench press. I have done plenty of weight training for the chest using dumbbells and weights, but you don't need it, and that's what the point of this video is. And I want to give you some strategies as a fellow tall guy to help you use push-ups more proactively to help build a more aesthetic and strong chest. Because we're bigger, frankly, we can't do as many push-ups as the average Joe. That's not a bad thing. Who cares? They're short. We're not. We can actually work proper rep ranges to help build strength and build muscle. So when it comes to using push-ups for muscle gain, our push-up sets can be anywhere between 6 and up to 30 reps. But it's pretty evident in the exercise science realm that it is much easier to stimulate muscle growth at the lower rep ranges, usually between 6 and 12 reps. You can grow muscle at 30 reps, but there's gonna be a lot of other kind of negative factors that play into the set that are gonna make you wanna fatigue out before your muscles actually give out. So it's much easier to get the muscle building stimulus when we can find the challenge in just a handful of reps rather than like 30 plus. But as you get better and stronger at push-ups, and if you don't have access to equipment, you can push the rep range all the way there. But we're gonna start by doing push-ups the right way. And when you start doing push-ups correctly, and especially when it comes to improving our posture as a tall person, and with an emphasis on improving your posture as a tall guy, you are gonna find that no matter how many push-ups you think you can do right now, yeah, that number's about to get a lot less. In a good way. It's gonna leave us room to build strength, to improve posture, and to get more out of each rep. So that way, whether you're stuck at home or you don't have weights, you don't wanna touch weights, you can start building a strong chest. So first things first, when it comes to getting the most effective push-ups, you should invest into some sort of push-up bar. Something that can elevate you away from the ground. You can see here that I'm using these Y-bells as an example. They just elevate you a few inches off of the ground, but what that does is that unlocks a deeper range of motion that you can achieve each rep. And when it comes to improving our fitness as a tall dude, it's not just about getting strong, it's about correcting this messed up effing tall dude slouch posture. Getting stuck like this when you lift your arms overhead. We gotta cut that crap out by improving our range of motion, and that's what having push-up bars allows us to do. There are lots of options for this. You can simply browse Amazon for push-up bars and see that there are a ton of different options. But just getting a few inches of elevation off the ground is all we need to take our push-ups from an average Joe push-up to a tall guy focused push-up. Now, if you don't have push-up bars or don't want to invest into them, it's not the end of the world, but you will get more out of them if you do have them. And everything that we talk about today can be applied to if your hands are just on the ground too. So when it comes to setting up for the push-up, it really starts with our hand placement. How wide should your hands be? Think slightly outside of shoulder width. The idea here is that we go down for a push-up and our forearm can get stacked vertically at the bottom. And this will allow you for the most optimal pushing power. If your arms are more narrow, it's not the end of the world. It's gonna work your triceps, the back sides of your arms a bit more, but it's not gonna create as strong of a pushing force. You'll notice here that I have my push-up bar set at a slight diagonal. Why is that? Well, if you take your arm and raise it up in front of you right now, lift it, relaxed, you will see that your wrist sits at a slight angle. The anatomical position, you can even have your arms at your sides and look down and see, is that your arms don't sit flat like this. They sit at a slight angle. So let's not fight against our own anatomy, and having that slight angle allows us to work our wrists in a more natural, fluid, less straining range of motion. Once we've got our hands set slightly wider than shoulder width, here's where things start to get intense. To start, I would actually recommend that you begin doing these push-ups in this way on your knees. When you place your knees down, you don't want your knees stacked under your hips. You want your knees behind your hips as if you're in a slight diagonal plank position. To achieve a strong plank position and to align our spine properly, we have to start from the butt and work up. We can use the BRASH acronym with this, B being for butt, where you're just gonna squeeze your butt forward slightly. R being ribs, where we wanna try to set our rib cage over our abs. Essentially not arching our lower back and not rounding our posture in too much. Simply just bringing our chest over our ribs. A is for abs, where we're gonna give a light squeeze of the abs. S is for shoulders, and the idea here is we want to externally rotate. To do this, when it comes to push-ups, we wanna think about our hands screwing into the ground, like we're trying to twist outwards, away from our body. You're not physically going to move the bars or move your hands. You set the bars in place at that slight diagonal and you twist out. And what this does is this stabilizes our shoulder joint. And lastly, we have H for head, where we literally need to pull our head back as if someone is pointing a finger at you and you don't want that finger to touch you. It's gonna feel a little awkward and it's gonna work your neck muscles. You know those muscles that you don't work at all because you just sit with your head forward like this all day? And once we've pulled ourselves into alignment here, now all we have to do is drop down and slightly forward. This slightly forward component of going down is what really allows us to keep that proper spine alignment throughout the range. Now, you don't want to just drop down. We build muscle and get stronger when we control the descent in the push-up. So think about lowering down to a 2-second count while trying to keep everything we established engaged. Now, based on your strength level, you might not be able to go all the way down. So as you lower down, you need to personally experiment with how low that's gonna be for you for now on your knees, to the point where you can get at least 5 repetitions with whatever range of motion works for you. Now, ideally, you wanna try to take advantage of those push-up bars to work on getting as low as possible while maintaining our spinal alignment. This is gonna put a massive stretch on your chest and shoulders, which is going to increase the mobility of those muscles, which is going to increase your ability to get into an arms behind you stretched position over time. This massive stretch on the chest and shoulder muscles too is what's gonna help stimulate muscle growth. And holy crap, you're gonna feel just how hard it is to come out of that position because you're gonna try to do it with a loaded 1-second pause at the bottom. You find your max range of motion, actively hold and pause, and press up with as much explosive strength as you can. And that's 1 rep. How many can you do like that? If you're more advanced, it might be time for you to take off your knees, and all we have to add here is the foot component to our spinal alignment, where essentially you try to screw your feet into the ground to stabilize your legs. Then squeeze your butt, then stack your chest over your ribs, then squeeze your abs, screw your hands into the ground, and pull your head back. Same idea, as much range of motion down as you can, 2-second descent, 1-second active pause, and exploding out of the bottom. You give that a try, and you tell me how many push-ups you can do like that. You will realize you can't do that many, and that's a good thing. That allows us to work in that muscle building, hypertrophy plus strength range of 5 or more reps. For the average Joe, that would be hard enough, but for us tall dudes, man, that becomes an absolutely killer exercise. And what we really need to do is get out of our damn heads of the kind of misconceptions and stereotypes of push-ups just being like a whatever type exercise. Your muscle doesn't know if you're holding dumbbells or if you're doing push-ups if the challenge is there. Try to work 3 to 4 sets of 5 or more reps twice a week. You can do them as their own standalone workouts, or you can throw them into whatever workouts you're doing right now. And I promise you, you are going to grow a bigger and stronger chest. And you're gonna improve your posture and your spinal coordination awareness. It's got nothing but benefits and no equipment needed outside of some push-up bars. So invest in yourself, pick some up. I've linked a couple of my favorites down below. I hope today's video was insightful and could help you out. If you've got questions, let me know down below. And be sure to subscribe for more tall-specific content. And remember, you're not an average Joe, so stop training like one. And I'll see you in the next video.